Hello, everyone, and welcome back to BPL Season 3. This is round of 16, Group C, round 2, winners, final, which means that we get to see two awesome players face off here, and one of them has already taken a game. So ZLO and sashkorin. Sashkorin, I think, played an incredibly just well thought out, very, very well done macro game, which ZLO is going to talk to you about right now.
I mean, oh yeah, it was a great macro game that ended extremely abruptly.
2 minutes. There's a lot of macro that can happen in 2 minutes, I'll have you know.
Yep. Get that one solar, perfect macro.
Yeah, the one solar perfect macro. No, sashkorin executed actually a great comm drop build and just on Heartbreak Ridge just ran in and completely erased ZLO. So kind of cool to see it actually work. How'd you feel about that game?
Yeah, it was cool to see it actually work. And I was gonna say, yeah, I don't think ZLO was prepared for something like that. I don't know if he's been like if that means he hasn't been practicing as much, or maybe just not practicing against those kinds of players that would do that. But yeah, it was very successful.
It does feel very much like a new school thing, so I could totally
Mhm.
see him just not being as prepared for it. He did have a great reaction though with immediately dropping the LLT, but he didn't body block it with his commander. I think if he had,
Oh, that's
he
right. Yep.
he probably would have been okay with it, but
Mhm.
that's how she
Bit of a
goes.
miscalculation.
Yeah, a little bit of a miscalculation. So ban 1 was Shallow Straits, ban 2 Crystallized Plains, and then ZLO picked Heartbreak Hill, which sashkorin took. And that could be part of the reason why he comb bombed him, maybe, right? He was like, hey, I don't want to play on the map that that you feel so strong on. So
That's a really good point. Yeah.
maybe maybe we just cheese it there and I don't have to play a long game. I win or I lose, but we just go right through the map that you feel strong on.
Yeah, that's true.
And so sashkorin is going to go Siralada, which second most popular map in the pool. Yeah, have you seen?
Pretty standard for this tournament.
Yeah, I feel like we just see so much Canis, so much Siralada. I'm curious why people are drawn to those maps just as much as they are.
Yeah, I mean, I forget what maps were in Alpha Cup. I want to say that both those were in there, right?
Canis was in it for sure. I don't actually remember if Siralada was in it now that I think about it.
I don't know. Well, either way, they're both great maps. I mean,
yeah, fair enough.
Siralada's a little bit more open, and there's a lot of different paths to the enemy, and then you also do have some ways to kind of like choke it off a little bit with, the high grounds there.
Yeah, for sure. All right, so we are waiting for players to get in, but this is game 2, which means, and sashkorin is up 1 game, so this means that ZLO is fighting for his life here. So if he wins it, he equalizes the series and it goes to game 3. And if he loses it, he has to play in round 3.
Yeah, the finals of the losers bracket.
Yeah, so elimination finals, and the players are in, which means it's time for us to see what's going on here.
Radio.
Whoa. Oh, I forgot there. Yeah, isn't Sash is Polish, but yeah, they're talking, looks like they're talking Russian to each other. Hopefully there's no secret strats going on here. So ZLO looks like 2 mechs, 1 wind, second wind into bot lab. So 2 mechs bots. All right. Sash with the 3 mechs. And he's going to go vehicle, so he needs that third wind. Actually, does he need that? Yeah, he does need that third windmill, but... Wow, that wind, starting wind, 95 off 3 windmills. That is kind of OP.
Yeah, you don't really need a lot this time around.
So I'm excited because we haven't seen as many of these corner spawn games, right? We've seen all the recent games that we've seen, I think tonight, and quite a few of the ones last night were all same side spawns.
I think there was one that was cross spawns like this. If I'm recalling correctly, I guess maybe I might be mistaken. But yeah, the cross spawns are pretty interesting. I mean, either way, it's pretty interesting. Oftentimes players will fight for the middle a little bit with commanders. Or if they think they're not ahead, they'll just like move somewhere else with the commander. But yeah, middle spot is very strong in a way. And but yeah, it's kind of interesting because there's a lot of like raiding paths through the like bottom side and through the top side. Just going around the middle, you can get a lot done that way too.
Is ZLO has to adjust this queue, right? He currently is going quad con before grunt.
Oh, interesting. Maybe
no, he's doing
no,
it.
He's doing it.
Wow, that is
some greed, man.
That is like the greediest build I think I've ever seen. They're not even going to go for LLTs. They're literally just running straight for all of the mexes.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Wow.
Yeah, no defenses at all. Like what?
It's a huge map, right? So, I mean, he'll be able to reinforce all of these with grunts. So maybe he just doesn't. He tries not to be offensive at all, and he just tries to keep the grunts relatively close. He does have a radar, and that radar gives him great vision of any raid. So I guess he's just thinking he can respond.
Yeah. I mean, I almost feel like ZLO is trying to just kind of bluff and say, well, you don't maybe know me as well as a player. Maybe you've heard my name before. So maybe you're going to be scared to do some crazy harassment and try to just play like a more normal-ish game. But yeah, that's a lot of cons coming out.
I mean, that's so many cons. I kind of like it that it's just this like massive aggressive expansion, but I also feel like there's a lot of room for error if
yes.
Yeah, especially because this is an X Factor build, right? This is actually I think this is a normal X Factor build because Khan's going to go back now and then boost that lab. So there's going to be a lot of incisors out on the field soon.
Yeah. And this can definitely put a lot of pressure on what ZLO is doing. We'll see if he has enough grunts out, but I mean, he's not even building out of his lab right now. He's actually just like stopped completely. His commander just sitting there, his lab just sitting there.
What?
Okay, now it's going back up. But yeah, that was actually a long time to not be making units. I don't know if that means he was busy elsewhere or if that was intentional to try to put more money into mexes faster or something.
I could maybe see that. He does have a few grunts kind of running around and harassing, so
yeah, maybe just APM stalling.
He does, yeah, potentially. I mean, he has pretty high APM from what I remember. But yeah, I mean, he's
or just a simple mistake.
Yeah, that's true. Simple mistake. Just forgot to queue things up. He's trying to kind of trap sashkorin in his base, but this vehicle open, the X Factor build doesn't really care about it, right? It doesn't really require early pressure and early trades. It's just, hey, let me make a bunch of incisors, and then at that like whatever 4 to 6 minute mark, let me send them across the map and do as much damage as possible.
Yeah, you know what? This kind of reminds me of, like the way he's playing kind of reminds me of his games against, who was he playing earlier? I don't remember already.
He was playing, not Shoddy. Was he playing Shoddy?
No, he wasn't. No, that was, gosh.
I can't remember.
I feel bad not remembering.
Yeah.
Oh, it was Lapaka.
Yeah, his games were... No,
yeah, so those games were slower, like more economical, like build up kind of games, and I think he's trying to do the same kind of thing here.
Oh, and this group of incisors is going to find this expanding con here on bottom, so he should be able to pick this off. And there's another con just down to the side. He might be able to pick that one off as well. Uh-oh.
Yeah, it's quite a few incisors, and then that's what this build really, gets after, is just having that nice amounts of incisors this early. And it's really strong.
ZLO already dropped his vehicle lab. I don't know if he necessarily has the metal to do it right now, but he dropped his V-lab and he's making incisors of his own, so he wants to do a transition off.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, that's a pretty interesting take, because once you see that many tanks, you oftentimes feel like, oh, I just need a lot of units. So it's a weird time to transition, but like he's keeping him back so far, so maybe this works out in his favor.
Yeah, maybe. Let's see. I mean, the army value difference is terrifying, though, right? Like 5.7k to 3.7k. I am not sure how I feel about that.
Yeah, right. There's just so many incisors out. I mean, we'll see if he's able to actually apply some pressure with them or not.
And yeah, he's gonna kind of push mid and snipe the con that was taking mid. So I'm a little worried for ZLO. I don't know if ZLO's build can really handle the tempo that sashkorin is putting out on the map right now.
Yeah, I mean, I agree, but I mean, I would also say that if he's just cranking out units, I don't think it's like ever going to be enough. So I'm pretty excited to see how this works out with that fast vehicle transition.
Yeah, fair enough.
I mean, and with all those cons going out early, like he's able to get a lot of extra mexes fast too.
Right.
Yeah, it's holding on so far.
Yeah, these incisors are just picking off everything though, right? Like 30 to 19 metal. I'm super concerned for ZLO. I mean, he's kind of just trapped in just on this bottom corner here, and I think that sashkorin can just really expand all the way behind it for the most part, right?
Yeah, sashkorin is definitely pulling ahead economically, at least in terms of metal. But yeah, this is a sizable incisor ball here too, so the pressure is high, and ZLO is building some of those pounders to try to make up for that. But they're so slow, they can't really maneuver around and pivot to where this army's actually going.
Yeah, and he's just gonna pick off another expanding con down here, right? And then, oh, there is a little bit of a grunt engage here, but can these...
That's pretty favorable. I mean, that's the best that you can do as ZLO, but you know, just picking off a few things like that, it's definitely helpful.
That is 22, and that's a lot of incisors.
Yeah.
And he has more coming to raid up in the north.
And I think this is a little deceptive too for sashkorin. Like, you know, he can see like, oh, I have this many incisors, but like, and he can see, you know, the army of ZLO, but does he know that his army is that much more valuable?
Right. Yeah. It's so
you
hard
just
to
see like a bunch
that.
of units. You don't really know, and plus it's uphill, so I don't know. Just kind of interesting take to run back.
He did see the pounder, so he knows that there are pounders in play. But I also
that's probably a big factor too.
I don't know if he's afraid of it per se, right?
Right.
I mean, he's got like almost 40 incisors. And granted, ZLO does have a lot of grunts and he has some of the other pounders, but if ZLO can't get out on the map and get more mexes, I'm a little worried. I mean, mid is probably the real prize here, but what if he just gets flanked?
Yeah, the flank is definitely going to be a huge deal. He does have that pounder on that side. Actually, the pounder's moving away now. So it's going to be a little bit rough on the north side.
Yeah, incisors gathering, and what are they going to collapse in? This radar sees them, so he knows they're there. Pounder's going to flex up and see if it can stop it.
Interesting that he's going for a counterattack.
Yeah,
I mean, I guess maybe he's looking at it like, okay, this is, you know, I can't really defend this. Let me just like go for the counterattack so that I can at least do some equal damage, hopefully.
If these all get in, I mean, that's a sizable force, right? That's 20 grunts and 7 incisors. So if they're able to get in here and maybe do a bit more damage, there's potential for them to do a bit. They are gonna, I mean, they can get this mex cluster, but the commander is gonna be able to respond. And sashkorin with the bomber transition. So
yeah, I'm okay. No, he is going in at the top there now.
Yeah, he's kind of committed. I mean, we're gonna see some D guns though, right? So he gets 4, he gets 6. Oh god.
Oh boy.
Okay. I think he got all 11, 10 or 11 with those. Maybe he had 1 kill before, but that is not value.
Yeah. Yeah, I think ZLO is missing his opportunity right now to go in as well, because those incisors are catching up, getting into position.
Yeah, the radar saw him. Oh, and there's Shuris here and a commander. So I think all he gets doesn't really even get that much, right? Yeah, he just gets the mexes, and the Shuris are going to lock down.
The OP Shuris with the lockdown.
Yeah, unreal.
So much value.
I mean, yeah, they're trying to cut away, but all these Shuris, it's just 1 shot, 1 stun, and they're going to pick off a bunch of these straggling units behind.
Yeah, meanwhile, there's some incisors from sashkorin as well.
Yeah, they got
in the back.
These are the same ones that looped around that survived the D guns, but I don't. Did they get that much? So they did get a mex, and then they got a radar and a few things. But if nothing else, they do kind of keep some brutes on this side.
Yeah, I mean, if only he had known that some of those, a lot of those mexes are naked, he could have gone straight to the bigger mexes.
So ZLO's gonna go Trasher as his anti-air to try to deal with these Shuris.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and he might be lucky enough to catch these two. Yeah, he sees these two cons in the bottom left, so he's gonna be able to pick them off.
Yeah, but look at that army coming in here. That's a pretty sizable force to be gunning towards that south side of ZLO's base.
Yeah, that you have to be really scared if you're ZLO. Wait, what? These two cons built the exploiter and now they're safe.
Oh boy.
The Gruns can't contest it. So ZLO kind of pushing up towards mid, right? And he has cons. He wants, if he can get these mexes, he might be able to equalize it a little bit more, but he's still a little bit behind in army value, and it's so much harder for him to raid because these Shuris can just shut down so much of the aggression.
Yeah, right, exactly. Well, the AA bots are coming up here, so we'll see if he decides to move his army. Well, I mean, it looks like he's trying to go in there with the majority of the units that are not with the anti-air bot.
This massive army on bottom, I'm a little concerned. The commander's not in position, right? And there's all.
He saw this way too late.
Yeah, I mean, there's. Oh God, here they come.
No response. That's probably going to be game-ending damage right there.
Yeah,
I mean, we'll see if sashkorin will take similar damage or not, but that looks pretty bad.
I don't think Sash is going to take.
Oh, the kill on the storage, the energy storage took out a lot of tanks.
Ooh,
I mean, granted, he's still pretty dead, but yeah, I was surprised that there's so many tanks that went down there.
So yeah, I mean, he does that. He is still pushing in a bit, but there's reinforcing Shuris and there's a commander. So, and these are vehicles, right? It's going to be so hard for them to push up this and actually get anything done because Sash can just degun anything that actually wins.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, he's definitely in a really good position, even if he loses a few things here.
He does get in, he snipes a couple converters, he's starting to pick off a couple of windmills, but Sashkorin's going to move forward and he's going to start degunning some of these tanks. Tanks do get in, they're doing a bit more, incisors. Nano's repairing. Ooh, that was a dangerous degun.
Right between the labs,
wow,
jeez.
Okay, Sashkorin is very confident in his degun abilities, but I think he's got this, right? Yeah?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, it's called.
So, sad. That was actually a little unexpected. I thought ZLO would take that away, to be honest.
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, like I was saying, I don't know if ZLO is in his best shape right now. Just missing some opportunities. Like we saw those units on the side just kind of sitting idle when they could have taken out those cons. Little things like that add up pretty quickly. And if you're not up to speed, they can definitely cancel your tournament.
Yeah, I mean he's not out yet, right? So he'll go to round 3 to see who plays there, but that means that Sashkorin actually just goes straight through, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, we can take a look at the bracket in a second. So that is not the bracket. Apologies. 1 second. We can look at maps first. So Sashkorin took both, right? He did the comb bomb on Heartbreak Hill. He won that, and then he just won that game with sort of the X Factor incisor build on Siralada, and he felt he felt really strong. He felt like he was in full control of those games, to me at least.
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, it was kind of hard to say with the Shadi games, right?
But yeah, that's
but yeah, I mean, the build that he's using is a very strong build. And I mean, it's been working out. He's been up against bots each time, and it runs over bots pretty easily. I think ZLO had like the best chance with that vehicle swap, but yeah.
Do you feel like maybe he should have gone? Well, he did have early pounders, but I still feel like it wasn't quite. I don't know. It just didn't feel like it really was. It really did enough for it.
I mean, there was like that idle time, like he was kind of floating a little bit of metal, and just like these things, like regardless of how you play, like at this level, if you're not doing some of the macro stuff properly, you're going to fall behind.
Yeah, fair enough. Okay, so that was the winners final, and Sash takes it 2-0, which means that ZLO gets his skull. We are sorry, Mr. ZLO, and Sash.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty surprised by that. I mean, looking at my predictions, it's like that's not what I expected whatsoever. But I'm glad to see some new players like do rather well.
Yeah,
keeps things interesting.
No, I agree. So Sash is all the way through. He just punched his ticket, and next game, round 2, losers final. The loser of this goes home. The winner of this gets to fight ZLO in round 3 and try to make it to round of 8. So we'll see what happens there.
Yep.
All right, and that is it for round 2 winners, and we're going to go to a break, and then we will return back with the losers final, which I believe will be Shoddy versus Lopatka.